So why did workers' compensation insurance stop sending you checks? That will generally apply to either temporary disability or permanent disability advances. In an ideal world, they will send out a notice when they stop sending checks. Unfortunately, in reality, it doesn't always happen. So, what usually will happen is if you are getting temporary disability, those checks come out every 2 weeks. The main reason insurance would stop those checks is either that they heard from the employer that you've gone back to work. So, if that's incorrect, get a hold of the insurance company, and if they still won't resume your temporary disability and you're still off work based on the doctor's notes and you haven't gone back to work, you may need to file a DOR for an expedited hearing. We have another video on that. But if the doctor says you can go back to work and the employer says we brought the injured worker back to work, the insurance company will stop temporary disability at that point. There should be a notice that comes out fairly soon in that time frame to let you know why temporary disability stopped and how much has been advanced so far. The other benefit that would stop that's been paid out on a regular basis would be permanent disability advances. There's a couple reasons the advances may stop. One, if they started permanent disability advances, but then you went back to work for the employer and you're making at least 85% of what you were at the time of your injury, they can defer those permanent disability payments until an award issues. So that may be why permanent disability advances stopped if you're back at work and you're earning real close to what you were doing with your original paycheck at the time of the injury. The other reason permanent disability advances would stop is that the insurance company is required to advance up to a reasonable estimate or a good faith estimate of what your permanent disability is going to be at the conclusion of your case. So if you have, let's say, a torn meniscus, the AMA guides say it's only a couple of points of whole person impairment. Maybe they rate that out. It's, let's say, 5% permanent disability. The insurance company will advance on that 5% permanent disability. But once they've advanced it, if your case hasn't settled yet, the permanent disability advances will stop because those are advances on the award or the compromise and release, which will eventually issue in your case. So once they've advanced a reasonable level of permanent disability, the permanent disability advances, the checks that are $580 or less every 2 weeks, those checks will stop. At that point, the insurance company should send out a notice that permanent disability advances are ending, and it will explain how much has been advanced and based on what rating. So if your checks stop for permanent disability advances, you should be getting a notice soon. If you don't, follow up with the insurance company to find out where the benefits are. If you believe that your permanent disability level is going to be higher based on the medical reporting that you have, and if they're not paying that, you may need to file a declaration of readiness to proceed. It will depend on quite a number of variables, but in that case, it likely wouldn't be an expedited hearing. It would just be for a mandatory settlement conference. But again, that's getting off into another area. At this point, why did your check stop? Because either you went back to work, temporary disability, or they've advanced a full 2 years for temporary disability. As to permanent disability advances, they've advanced a reasonable level. Those are the most common reasons why regular checks from workers' comp insurance would stop.